back to the channel. Welcome to another video. It's that time of the weekend. It's Premier League predictions time. Another round of Premier League action is almost upon us this weekend. And this is, of course, the video where I talk about the games, analyse them, and, of course, give my predictions on how I think each and every single match will finish come the full-time whistle. Before we get into all of that, though, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things will always be greatly appreciated. But one thing I always ask of you is to always get involved in the comments section. I want to know your thoughts, your comments, your opinions. But most of all, of course, I want to know your predictions on how you think each and every single game will turn out this weekend as well. This is a Premier League predictions video after all, people. So use and abuse that comment section at your will and tell me what you think will happen this weekend in the Premier League. Right, now that that's out of the way and done with, let's get on with the predictions and the analysis. And we have got the lunchtime game to kick things off on Saturday. Crystal Palace taking on Liverpool at Selhurst Park. And as you can see, I've gone with a 2-0 win to the current league leaders. I think Liverpool will go into the next international break as the league leaders. 2-0 winners here I see for Arne Slot's side. Look, 12-30 games are horrible for Liverpool. We know that. 12-30 games are horrible for the big teams in general. For whatever reason, there seems to be some 12-30 curse that sometimes goes around, and sometimes the underdog does sometimes come out with a big result. I don't necessarily see that happening here, but it would obviously be, it wouldn't be a complete shock, let's put it that way, if something was to happen here. But look, Palace have not had the best of starts of the season. They haven't even won a game so far this season. They find themselves currently occupying one of the relegation spots, and they're coming up against a Liverpool side that are banging form, that have got some really good players that are firing on all cylinders right now. And, like I say, are top of the table. Their defence is solid. Their attack can be frightening. Selhurst Park can be hostile. Selhurst Park can be difficult. We know that. And especially on our 12:30 kickoff, it can be a very awkward place to go. But I'm still going to back Liverpool to get the job done in this one. And that's why I have gone with a 2-0 win in favour of Arne Slot's side. I just think they'll have enough in all departments to overthrow this Crystal Palace side. Next up, we're at the Emirates for Arsenal against Southampton. And I've gone with a 4-0 victory in favour of Arsenal for this one. This one should be one of the more favourable games to predict this weekend, in all honesty and with all due respect. Southampton, similar to Crystal Palace, have not won a game all season. They occupy one of the relegation spots. They are in a lot of trouble right now. And they are coming up against an Arsenal side who, like Liverpool, are banging form, firing on all cylinders, looking to really chase down top of the table right now, going into the into the international break. If Southampton play like I've seen them play their football out from the back, Arsenal are going to have a field day. Arsenal are going to run riot. There is going to be a massacre of Southampton players because their football that they try to play is a little bit risky, a little bit suicidal. And I think if Arsenal's pressing game is on point, they will tear Southampton apart. I think 4-0 could actually be a little bit of it could be a little bit lenient on Southampton, in all honesty. You know, I as a Liverpool fan hope that Southampton can obviously take points off of Arsenal. But that would be more hope than anything. Arsenal to win this game, Arsenal to get a clean sheet. It's probably the more favourable result as well. That's what I've gone for. That's why I've gone with Mikel Arteta's side to destroy Southampton by 4-0. Next up, Brentford, the kings of the first minute, take on Wolverhampton Wanderers, another side who are yet to win this season. Brentford will be annoyed that they take the lead so early in games, only for them to not be able to carry on and win the game and see the game out. Wolves have not won a game all season. Will that change here? We will have to wait and see. Are we going to get another early fast start by Brentford in this game? We shall see. Brian Mbeumo's in decent form. Will he continue that? We shall see. A lot of intriguing questions in this game that we shall see. I'm intrigued with this one. I was torn between a draw and a Brentford win. And I've gone with a Brentford win. Simply the reason that I think in the final third, I think they just have enough about them to get over the finish line and to get the 3 points. They're probably long overdue for some 3 points anyway, as well, probably Wolves. But I think in this game, I've gone with Brentford. And especially, if they get an early start, I think this time they will take their chances in finishing off the game. But Wolves, interesting times lie ahead, especially for Gary O'Neill. No win so far this season. I know they've had a pretty tough start, but still no win. Only 1 point on the board from so far 6 games. A lot of questions need to be asked. And we're going into an international break in which normally things can change very, very quickly. So it's going to be very interesting to see if there is any change at Wolves and what is going to happen with Wolves going forward. But a lot to be worried about, a lot to be concerned about for both of these teams, really, to be honest with you. But I think Brentford will just have enough about them to edge out their opponents in this one. Next, we're off to the King Power Stadium for Leicester City's clash with Bournemouth. And I've gone with a 2-0 win to Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth are in a decent spell of form. A very good victory on Monday night against Southampton. They've got a few decent players in their ranks. They've got a couple that are in some very good form. Mainly Semenyo, of course. And I think they'll just have enough about them to overthrow this Leicester side, who came very close to upsetting Arsenal last week. But overall, Arsenal battered them, but Leicester took their chances when they mattered. And they got a little bit of good fortune as well, mixed in there as well. So it's going to be very interesting, this one, to judge. But I just think with the players that Bournemouth have, the players that they have in form as well, I think they'll just have enough about them to get the job done. And I think they'll also get a clean sheet out of this one as well. So I think Bournemouth to make it back-to-back wins will be very good for them, and also be very good for their manager and for their standing in the Premier League as well. So 2-0 win for Bournemouth there is what I am predicting. Next, moving on to the Etihad, where Manchester City will be taking on Fulham. And I've gone with a 3-1 win to Manchester City. Last weekend's Newcastle, look, Newcastle fully deserved something from that game. And they got it. City weren't great. City were poor. City didn't quite create much of anything, in all honesty, in that game. They're coming up against the Fulham side, who can be very difficult opposition. We've said this time and time again about Fulham, and this is the very frustrating thing. They currently occupy 6th place in the table, right? They, on their day, can be very difficult to play against. But sometimes they can be absolutely abysmal and just seemingly roll over for certain teams. Now, I'm not expecting them to roll over for Man City in this game, but I just think City in the final third especially will have just too much for Fulham to handle. And that's why I am going for City to win, and to win in the comfortable fashion that we know that they normally can. I think Erling Haaland will be back amongst the goals this week on a Premier League level. I don't think it's out the realms of possibility for Fulham to get something from this game. But at the same time, I just think City will get the job done. I just think City will get the job done, get back to winning ways, and of course, you know, before going into the international break, just push on and try and obviously make up for some lost ground that, of course, they lost last week. So, yeah, we shall see. We shall see on this one. Isn't out the realms of possibility for Fulham to get something, but Yeah, this one again should be one of the more favourable games to call this weekend. Moving on, West Ham United against Ipswich at the London Stadium. And I've gone with a 2-1 win to Ipswich. Now, this one is going to be very interesting. You've got a West Ham side that have been pretty poor all season. Not really clicked under Julian Lopetegui yet. Against an Ipswich side who have been taking life back to the Premier League game by game and seemingly point by point. They lost their opening 2 games, but they've since gone on to draw their next 4. So they are on a 4-game unbeaten run. 4 points out of the last 4 games. Taking it steady, to say the least. But they've got to start turning those points into wins if they want to try and beat the drop, beat relegation, and to survive this dogfight. This could be a very good opportunity to do that. Like I say, West Ham have not properly clicked yet. Defensively or attacking wise, there's just a miscommunication, misconnection there, or whatever it may be. And Ipswich can take advantage of that. Ipswich, like I say, Rory Delap scored a couple of great goals last week. He's seemingly in decent form. They seemingly battle hard together. They play hard together. They've got this good understanding, good communication. I think that could be enough to see them get across the finish line for their first win back in the Premier League, back in the top flight division for over 20 odd years. And that's why I think Ipswich could definitely fancy their chances here. Of course, West Ham could as well. On the flip side of that, West Ham could certainly fancy their chances of beating a newly promoted side. But I've just got a sneaky feeling that with the form of Rory Delap especially, it could be the difference maker on the day. And that Ipswich could pick up their first win of the brand new season. I'm going with Ipswich to win this game. But yes, certainly could go any which way this one. Next up, it's the Saturday evening encounter between Everton and Newcastle, in which I have gone with a 2-1 win to Newcastle. Now, Goodison Park will obviously be very much alive to this one. Very much loud to this one. Very much on the edge of their seat for this one. It's been an optimistic couple of weeks for Everton. Picked up their first win of the season last weekend. They've obviously got a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of this potential takeover. And now they're coming up against a Newcastle side, and they'll welcome back Anthony Gordon, I'm sure, with open arms. This one could be very interesting. Newcastle were brilliant last week in getting a point against Manchester City. But these are the kinds of games that really enforce how good of a point or how good of a 3 points, depending on obviously whether you win or lose those kind of big games, that they really are. Because if you lose your game after, it relatively means very little in comparison. This is a big opportunity for Newcastle to get 3 more points on the board, accumulate a decent points tally going into an international break. For Everton, of course, it could represent another big 3 points towards potential relegation battling safety. I've gone with a 2-1 win to Newcastle. I think firepower-wise, I think they just have enough about them. I think defensively-wise, they will have too much to neutralise Everton with for the most part. I still think Everton could nick something from a set piece or something. But it isn't out of the realms of possibility for Everton to get something. You know, Dwight McNeil was in good form last week. We know that Dominic Calvert-Lewin can often turn up in these types of games where he likes a physical battle and a physical challenge. It isn't out of the realms of possibility for Everton to get something, but I just think Newcastle will carry on from last week, that performance against Manchester City, carry it over into this week, and I think they will get something more this weekend against with all due respect to Everton, a more favourable opposition than Man City. So, I've gone with Newcastle to win. I've gone 2-1 to the Magpies. I think Eddie Howe's side will pick up a win in this one. Moving on to Sunday's games, I'm going to jump a little bit ahead to Stamford Bridge's encounter with Chelsea against Nottingham Forest. And I've gone with a 3-1 win to Chelsea. Chelsea have been very good this season, it has to be said. They have actually performed better than what myself and maybe others have given them credit for or would have predicted at the beginning of the campaign. They're seemingly firing on all cylinders. There's seemingly a better harmony and a better understanding within that squad. Their midfield seems to have found some sort of balance. There seems to be an attack that is firing on pretty much all cylinders right now. It's seemingly looking really good right now to be a Chelsea fan and to be obviously a part of this Chelsea setup. How long will this last? That is probably the question. Is this a ticking time bomb or is this a real deal? That's my next kind of question. I guess we'll see over the next few weeks and months or so when the fixtures start to really heat up and the fixtures start to really intensify. But for right now, they have another favourable opportunity to get 3 more points on the board in the form of their opponents, Nottingham Forest, who started off the season really well, picked up their first defeat of the season last weekend against Fulham. We have seen Forest create issues for Chelsea in the past. We know that against the bigger teams in the league that they can often be difficult opposition. But I just think with the way that Chelsea are playing right now, and again, this isn't out of the realms of possibility for Forest to get something, because every time I do predict a Chelsea result, I don't normally get it right because Chelsea normally let me down no matter what I predict of them. So I've gone with a Chelsea win. I just think with the way that they're playing right now, they'll be able to put Forest to the sword and get a few goals to boot as well. I think with the way that Cole Palmer especially is playing right now, he's just absolutely unbelievable. And I think Nicholas Jackson, his sort of partner in crime, is also firing on all cylinders right now. So I've gone with Chelsea to win. I think they will get the job done against Forest. And I think there'll be another 3 points on the board for Enzo Maresca's side. So will be interesting to see how the Blues do in this one. Brighton against Tottenham. Oh, I had fun trying to pick this one apart. I've gone with 3-2 to Tottenham. Now, if Brighton play how they did against Chelsea last week, high line, extremely suicidal football against this Tottenham side are going to absolutely run through them. They are going to create chances galore. They are going to score bags of goals. And they are going to run riot. Alternatively, if Spurs play with a high line, which we know that they tend to do, and Brighton are on their game in this one, if Brighton make the right decisions, are on it from the start, are good on the ball, well communicated, well connected with each other, we know that they too could run riot in this one. I've gone with 3-2 because I'm expecting goals here. If both these teams are going to play with massive high lines, the battle of the high lines, we could be in for one hell of a game here. And I cannot wait for this one. I've gone with 3-2 to Spurs because I think in the attacking third, I think Spurs may just have enough, especially with the likes of Dominic Solanke just about finding his feet now in this Spurs side. I've just gone with Spurs to just about edge it in this one. But I'm expecting a really fun game. I'm expecting a very exciting, entertaining, potentially end-to-end encounter here, in which I'm expecting chances created. I'm expecting some good football to be played. I'm expecting there to be some high risk and maybe even some catastrophe moments, because these two sides can definitely bring it all. Spurs will still be riding high off of their victory last weekend against Manchester United, and so they should be. And Brighton will be trying to bounce back from their defeat last weekend to Chelsea, in which they shot themselves in the foot on several occasions to really hand Chelsea that victory. But I'm expecting goals. I'm expecting some really good opportunities, some really good moments. And you know what? If this turns out to now be a goalless draw after I've just bigged this up, this will just be typical. But no, I'm expecting goals galore here, and I'm hoping we get that. I've gone with 3-2 to Spurs, but really, this could go any which way in all honesty. Especially because, as we know, Spurs can be Spurs and Brighton can be, well, a bit of Brighton. So, hoping for a good game here, but we shall see. And finally, in what I believe to be the biggest game of this round of fixtures, the main event of this round of upcoming Premier League action for this weekend, we are at Villa Park for Aston Villa against Manchester United, and I've gone with 3-1 to Aston Villa in what could potentially be Erik Ten Hag's last game in charge. Is this Erik Ten Hag's last stand? That is my question to you people. Could this be the final time we see Erik Ten Hag in the dugout at Manchester United? Will Unai Emery's men drive the final nail in the Erik Ten Hag coffin? We shall see on Sunday. Villa are in a decent spell of form. They got a bit of a knock last week when they drew 2-2 with Ipswich. But Villa, nonetheless, have the players, the ability, the calibre, the quality to really run through this Manchester United side. And to do that and to obviously finish them off in the final third as well. They have a defensive structure which can neutralise Manchester United. We saw how easy it was for Tottenham to do last weekend. Villa can certainly do that if they play smart, if they don't try and overthink it, and if they just play their natural game. And especially when you consider the likes of Ollie Watkins is in decent form, John Duran obviously waiting in the wings to capitalise if he's not exactly firing on all cylinders. And you think as well, the midfield is strong. The likes of Leon Bailey on one side is looking really, really good. It's just all looking pretty solid right now for Aston Villa, and they continue to defy a lot of people's expectations, and they continue to just go again and go again under Unai Emery, despite new challenges that they face and despite new issues that may arise for them. They just continue to plough through. United can be a bit of a bogey side for them, of course they can, but right now they are looking a bit dysfunctional. Right now they aren't looking at their best. And although they have Bruno Fernandes available for this game after his red card was rescinded this week, there's nothing for me here to suggest that they will pose any major threat to Aston Villa in this one. Of course, United have the individual players that can turn up. Rashford on his day can turn up. Fernandes on an off day can turn up. Of course they can. Xerxes may even turn up. Rasmus Højlund may even come off the bench to score a couple of goals. They have the individual talent and quality to get the job done. However, as a team, I think Villa will get the job done here. And whether or not this is Erik Ten Hag's last stand or not, it will just heap more doom and gloom onto Old Trafford, onto Manchester United, going to the international break, in which is going to feel like an extremely long international break for United. But I think with the likes of John McGinn in midfield, alongside Onana, and then you look at further up the pitch, hopefully Morgan Rogers is going to be okay to play. He's been brilliant for Aston Villa so far this season. Ollie Watkins, like I mentioned before, Leon Bailey as well. I think Villa, going forward-wise, are going to be strong, and I think they're going to be much better than this United side. And especially the physical aspect as well. I think United could get bullied in this game. I think they really could get bullied, and I think that's going to be the difference maker overall, and will help Aston Villa towards what I think will be a 3-1 victory in favour of Unai Emery's side. But as always, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, but most of all, of course, predictions of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, your opinions, but most of all, of course, your predictions down below in that comment section. Use and abuse that section, people. Talk to me on this. Tell me what you think about each and every single game to come up this weekend in England's top tier division known as the Premier League. I'd love to hear from you all on what you have to say all about them. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. Thank you everyone so much for watching and listening. Thank you for everybody for your continued or even brand new support on the channel. Really do find it awesome and very much appreciated from me. So thank you very much for that. I've been Fletch. This has been another Premier League predictions video, and I will see you and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers guys, thanks for watching. Take care, enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.